Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. My name is Carolina and I am the programming coordinator at the Oak Bluffs Public Library on Martha's Vineyard. And this is Cooking with Carolina Live. So tonight we are going to be making bread pudding with eggnog. And I'd like to thank the Library Friends of Oak Bluffs, as usual, for sponsoring this program. Now, I had a really hard time deciding what to make tonight, and I still have, if you've been watching the show, I still have way too many eggs. Way too many. Probably even more now because I haven't checked the coop for a few days. So I really need to use some eggs. I love breakfast foods, so why not make some bread pudding? And I also have a lot of leftover bread, as well as eggnog that I'm really sick of drinking. So, perfect. Let's make some bread pudding. So first thing first, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350. All right. Now, this will not just be regular bread pudding. I've decided to mix it up a little bit, and we're going to add some apples and cranberries to the bread pudding. So the first thing I want to do is to chop up these apples, which are also, I think one of my children poked a hole in one of them. I think this one got dropped, so there are apples that need to be used also. So this is a nice kitchen sink pudding. So let's chop these up and we'll put these in a bowl. I have washed these. Will I peel them? I think I will peel them, actually. Grab my peeler. One of my challenges to myself is to try to get the peel off in one peel. This one I already messed up, but it's always exciting when you can do that. I've become very good at doing oranges in one peel. It's like my little parlor trick. I did have one of those fancy dancy apple peeler / corers that stick to the counter and you stick the apple on and turn the knob, but I found I didn't really use it that much, and then the spring broke, so that was that. But look at that, not bad. I know you're very impressed. This is how we amuse ourselves now, in the age of COVID. With fairly decent sized chunks, cutting into thirds and then thirds again for each. And this would also be really tasty with pears. Okay, Round two. Let's see how we do. It's tough when you have a little bad spot. You really gotta be careful here. Oh, see? Damn it. That killed me. Almost. Those soft spots do you in. Alrighty. And of course you could use an apple core prior to peeling, or a paring knife to do this more delicate work here. But since I have this knife, I'm going to use it. Woohoo! Cut off that mushy spot. And that mushy spot. Okay. Now, put that in there. Get a kitchen towel. And with this, we're going to throw in some dried cranberries. A nice pantry staple. And here you can just think about if you like cranberries or not. Put more in. Not that crazy about them, put less. I like them. Then I will throw in a nice bit of butter. This is probably about 3 tablespoons. And a spot of brown sugar. Maybe about a tablespoon of brown sugar. Not too much, just a touch. And how about a little cinnamon? And I always like a little nutmeg. Really, I like any excuse to use this little porcelain grater. Again, I don't put a lot in, just enough for a little extra flavor. Now I'm going to take this and mix it all up. And you could, of course, cut your butter into little chunkers, and that would make it easier to mix. And I'm kind of chopping with my spurtle. If you don't know what a spurtle is, this is a spurtle. I love spurtles. Sort of an all-in-one kitchen tool. Cranberries, jump and chip. Kind of fun and therapeutic to kind of chop away at it too. All right, that is good for now. And we will put this just to the side. And let's see. Put that to the side. What shall we do next? A little cleanup. And I think now, let's crack some eggs. So here's one of my monster bowls of eggs. And again, if you've watched the show before, you know that I have chickens that I don't always trust. And so I do crack my eggs into a little bowl prior to putting them into the big bowl with the rest of the eggs. Because they've done me wrong before. And that's not pretty. And we'll use about 12 eggs or so. Why not? Four. One thing about having your own chicken eggs is the eggs seem a little more brittle, and they like to break the shell into little pieces, so you always seem to get shell in your cracks, just like that. Okay, where are we now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. French toast and bread puddings are the best because they totally use lots of eggs up. Up to 10. $11. 12. And I think I still have at least a dozen to give to the neighbor. Quick clean here. Now, a fun fact is the eggshells can be crushed up and you can actually, it sounds kind of gross, but you feed them back to your chickens and it makes their shells harder, and I guess it gives them like calcium or something good to give their shells more oomph. All right. Now we will use about 2 cups of the eggnog. And now let's whisk this all up. Alrighty, now we have our old bread. And I have a random assortment of old bread to use. And we're going to cut this up into cubes. Now they always say it's best to use like day-old bread. In my case, this is like a week or more old bread. Possibly much more. Nevertheless, it needs to be used. And this is just a French roll. This is actually some Portuguese sweetbread, which I thought would be more popular. So once you cube it, you can put it directly into your egg mixture. Boy, good thing we used 12 eggs. This ends up being a bit of bread. And then I have a little piece of whole wheat bun. This one's extra crispy. Okay, that's all of it. Hi, Mohammed. I'm making bread pudding. Eggnog bread pudding. So we have our 12 eggs and we have our eggnog all mixed together. And then we put in our chopped old bread. And now we're mixing it all up. Okay, now we're gonna let this sit and soak up for about 15 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes. So we can do a little tidying while that's going on. Maybe I'll find something to read to us. You know what? I'll grab this new book we have at the library. One moment. It's very good. It's called Humans. I know that's backwards, and it's by the author of Humans of New York, if you've ever heard of that series, Brandon Stanton. And this time he talks to people all over the world, and there are pictures from people all over the world. And like little snippets of their story. So like this couple here. Both of us are widowers. We met last year at a dance for seniors. He treats me so much better than my husband ever did. My husband treated me like a stray dog. He used to beat me. He'd get angry and yell and break things. He'd always say that I'd never meet someone else. But this man is different. He always tells me that he loves me. He always wants to be with me. He makes me feel like a princess. That's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Here's from Rosario, Argentina. We met on the internet 4 months ago. Both of us are divorced. It's been 40 years since I felt this way. I'm so happy, but I'm nervous too. It's hard for me to get rid of this feeling that it won't work out well. But I chose him because he wrote on his profile, "I'm an honest man, and I will do what I say." I've been disappointed a lot. Every past relationship has left a scar. Hopefully this time there will be no scar. Here we go from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm looking for a tall man, 85 to 90 years old, preferably a professional. Needs to have a good mood. But other than that, I'm pretty open. This guy. Madrid, Spain. I should have invested the money I stole. My. He says, after I finally learned the ropes, they changed all the rules. New York. Here's one from Tehran, Iran. I'm trying to be an artist, but my parents just don't understand. I showed a painting to my mom, and I was like, "Do you like it?" And she was like, "I guess, but why is there a cigarette? Are you smoking now?" And I was like, "No, Mom, the cigarette represents pain." And she was like, "Did we not love you enough?" My stripper name was Tanqueray. Back in the 70s, I was the only black girl making white girl money. I danced in so many mob clubs that I learned Italian. Black girls weren't even allowed in some of these places. Nothing but Guidos with their pinky rings and the one long fingernail they used for cocaine. I even did a full 20 minutes in the place they filmed Saturday Night Fever. But I made my real money on the road. $3,000 on some trips. Every time Fort Dix had their payday, they'd bring me in as a feature and call me Miss Black Universe or some stuff like that. We'll skip the rest of that one. Here's from Mumbai, India. I always knew that the environment was in trouble because my dad got me a big book about tiger conservation. But I didn't really become an environmentalist until I got to grade 1. That's when I thought of many interesting ways to help. Some things you can do are reduce waste, carpool more often, spread awareness, plant trees, not cut trees, cut carbon emissions, and reduce nuclear disposal. I'm too young to start nuclear disposal because it's dangerous and I don't have the proper gloves. But I do recycle and keep plants on my balcony. That one was awesome. Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, Vietnam. He found me and my son on New Year's Eve, sleeping in a construction site. We'd been forced out on the street after my husband abandoned us. He said, "You shouldn't live like this. Come home with me." He let us live with him for months, and he never asked me for a thing, and he was very good to my son. Sometimes I'd come home and find him carrying my son on his shoulders. After a few months, we developed romantic feelings for each other. Oh, how nice. Huh, this is actually, that looks like a Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. She always responds with empathy. She meets anger with empathy. She meets hate with empathy. She'll take the time to imagine what happened to a person when they were 5 or 6 years old. And she's made me a more empathetic person. I had a very fractured relationship with my father. Before he died, she made me remember things I didn't want to remember. She made me remember the good times. That's very sweet. Here's one from London, England. Yesterday we went on a treasure hunt with our metal detector. Gramble showed me how to dig very carefully and dust off your discoveries. We were hoping to find a pound, or maybe an old Roman coin, but instead we found a tent peg. Then today we went to the bookstore and found an encyclopedia from the late Victorian era. We discovered a lot of facts that aren't facts anymore. Here's one from Mexico City, Mexico. I gave my 3-year-old daughter some worthless coins and jokingly told her that she was rich. She went and hid the coins away, and I forgot about them. A few months later, we needed money for food, and I asked my oldest daughter if we could use some of her birthday money. She refused. I almost started crying because I thought then that I had completely failed as a parent. But suddenly, my youngest daughter appeared and gave me back the handful of coins that I had given her. So, that is from the book Humans. Lots of different little snippets of people's lives. They're not all sad, I don't think. They're interesting, though. It's interesting because it's from all over the world. And so, let's see. This has been soaking, probably not for 10 minutes, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do now is, I actually got out this earlier, but I don't think it's gonna be big enough. I'm gonna go with my initial instinct. I kind of want something in between size. I don't know if I have anything. Let's see what I can do. Now I'll go with the bigger one. Better safe than sorry. Okay, so where has my spurtle gone off to? Okay, so I have my little mixing spurtle here. Give this a give it a little stir. And now, if you recall, our little butter and cranberry and apple mixture, we're going to kind of fold that in to our bread mixture. So this is Eggnog Cranberry Apple Bread Pudding, a multi-hyphenate. And just kind of try to mix it up ever so. Somewhat evenly, if you can tell. Once everything gets in there, it all looks like bread. Okay, now we have some cooking oil spray. Let's hope so. We'll see how it goes, David. This is actually my first time making it. This is completely experimental. We're going wild tonight. Okay, so we have coated our pan. And now, oh yeah, definitely glad I went with the bigger one. All right, now, woohoo! Now you can use your spurtle as kind of a scraper or squeegee. Make some good noises. Thank you, Dee. Well, I guess I'm a multi-hyphenate as well, so you know. Have to be educational as well. This is a library program after all. Okay, big bowls, small bowls, no bowls. Now we'll spread this around just a little bit. This actually does look pretty good. Well, and if you're wondering, will I have this for dinner? No. I'll probably save it for breakfast tomorrow. I love having leftover food for breakfast, though. It's like my favorite thing. I will cook it tonight. And I always post pictures in the comments. So if you're interested in how everything turned out and how the taste test was, come back and look at the comments. Or you can make a comment, and then you'll know when I've commented. You'll get a little notification. Okay, so There we go. There is our bread pudding ready to go in the oven. And let's see, we'll put this in at 350. It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna say it will take probably, let's see. Oh, she did a different way. I'm gonna say at least 45 minutes. So we're gonna cook it at 350 for 45 minutes, then we'll check on it and see if it has set yet. You don't want your eggs to be runny, you wanna make sure it's fully cooked. So I guess that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the show, and please do join me again next week at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on Facebook. Bye.